Black boy, tell me how you really feel. I just wanna build with you. Black girl, tell me how you really feel. I just wanna keep it real with you. I wanna live better, eat better. I wanna love better, sleep better. I wanna feel so aligned, sublime.
You know, if we're being honest, I have a need to feel and to create and then to be felt. Growing up where I grew up, in Pineville, in the low country of South Carolina, water had such a profound impact on our traditions and the culture, well, you know, what we ate, how we lived. Water is the life force, is rebirth and renewal. You know, it's real spiritual. And water also takes the form that it needs to take in order to do what it's purposed to do. And as I'm here in Charleston, in a city that's literally underwater, a city that in many ways has been the gateway to the Black experience in America, with so many of its people still under the thumb of oppression, there is no more perfect metaphor. For me, it's not an absence of fear. It's embracing the fear, using it to go forward. It's not an absence of love, pain, strength, or vulnerability, but it's embracing all of it, owning all of it, and using it to push forward. It's the spirit of creativity, collaboration, and community. It's restlessness and rage, poetry, jazz. It's healing. It's beautiful. It's Black. And it's political. Like me. Like my people. And that's a water album.
Finally, my lucky number 20, Next Up Charleston, episode 20, with the infamous Benny Starr. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad we're finally doing this.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's finally happening.
Yeah.
But I believe in timing and everything that's happening because you are on the, I don't call it a tour, but you're in the midst of delivering your vinyl albums from your amazing performance that you performed at the Charleston Music Hall of a water album. So first of all, I want to dive into all of that, but just seeing the reactions of how people are receiving it, how does that feel when you're handing this vinyl over and just seeing the reactions of people?
It's hard to put it into words, like really how it feels, but it's really, really gratifying. It feels rewarding because so much work went into making the vinyl. So much work went into making the album. It was a live album. There were rehearsals for that actual show. Bringing in musicians, Roger Cliche, the 420s, musical creative directors, and bringing them the album that I had, the album that I wrote with the producers that I'd already been working with, and then turning all of that into a live music event that's like really culturally specific to Charleston, but not simply the people here, Black people here, but everywhere. Something real relatable and vulnerable. So seeing people who've been supporting for the long haul, like putting it in their hands and letting them know that it's finally arrived, it's like really, really gratifying.
And highlighting the fact when you say culturally specific, because that is something that you stand on, being culturally specific. You always say rapper / activist, and that word activist is a very powerful word, but I feel like from what I see, from the content you put out, you carry that. You are a true activist. So what is it like balancing being an activist and a musician?
I think the more I grew, I was able to peel back layers of myself so I could be, the goal is always to be my truest self. And my truest self is the things that I care about, like my people, our community, integrity, justice, and then being able to merge that with what I do well and my talent, which is, you know, creating music, engaging people in our community on certain issues that I deeply care about. So it gets difficult sometimes, only in the sense of when you're operating sometimes in spaces and places where institutions have a lot of power and they've hoarded that power, then yeah, walking a certain line, walking your line of integrity, walking that line could seem foreign when you start looking around and you know who's around you. But I think a big key to overcoming that is keeping good people around you, keeping your circle tight, and always standing on your integrity. So that's what I try to do, and I feel real grateful that people are powering what I'm doing. It's not, you know, there's no big institution behind what I'm doing. It's really, really the force and energy of people. lot of black people here in Charleston and beyond. So I'm grateful for that too.
I want y'all to check out this name that's on my shirt.
What's that shit say?
It's Maud.
Ooh.
And this is a very important black woman in the Low Country. And this woman right here, she was a midwife who went down to Berkeley County, delivered babies for black people when white doctors wouldn't go down there. Time magazine took some photography of her in 1951 or whatever. They published it in their magazine, and it raised so much awareness and so much money started to pour in. She built a clinic, and her clinic was adjacent to the church that I grew up in. And when it was time for the president was like, yeah, I want to have lunch with you. I want to have lunch with you. She told that motherfucker, I'm busy.
Are y'all really ready for this?
One. So the thing about it is just that with all the rap going around, you're a conscious rapper, but you make it very relatable. You make it very cool, from your Free Lunch album to now Water, just educating. So how do you, because it's a craft and it's art, to be able to capture people that's just like, I'm informing you, but I'm gonna make you like it at the same time?
I think one of the things I care about a lot is the craft of what I'm doing. So much preparation and so much like sharpening the sword goes into my flow, my delivery, my cadence, those elements of actually being an MC that I care about. Like, I'm not getting up on any stage rapping over my lyrics. I don't think people come to the shows. They come to the shows for an experience. They don't come to the shows just to see me rap over my track. So little things like that that really emphasize how serious I am about, you know, what I do. And the issues that I care about are people. I think it's easier for people to receive all of that when it's intertwined with a good song. So sometimes we get into the modes, I know in rap discussions we go into modes of like, you know, who got the most bars and who can rap the best and stuff like that. And that's very, very important because that's a pillar of being an MC, a great MC. But I also really value my ability at songwriting. Because I think, man, if you make people tap their feet, you make people nod their heads, you just make people sit down and give them that, whether it's goosebumps or whatever that feeling is, you can give them whatever, almost whatever content that's in the song. But it's predicated on you having actual good music. So, you know, that's important.
I stare death in the face gracefully over mimosas, cheese, crepes, and pastries, caressing life in the small of her back, smiling. She turns to smile back through a foundation of facts. My hands on the spine, dividing page after page. I peek into my past and my future. I can read the Psalms on the parchment, gripped by the sweaty palms of a prophet. I see the chakras and the sutras. My life is clothed in a spiritual cloth. I dice clothes in my ritual broth. I'm as wild as the Scottish summer owls. I'm a god in my African garb.
When did you decide that I want to actually be a rapper? This is something I want to pursue. And what crafted you to get here today? But when did you realize that I think I want to be a rapper? I'm going to be Benny Starr.
Man, I was, in some ways I'm still really fully stepping into all of that, but I say around about 20, 21 when I was in college, around my friends, the same friends I have now, and they found out that I could rap. They found out I could rap really well. So they sat me down, Troy and Serge and Nikos and DJ D-Dub, they all sat me down and they were like, what do you want to do? If you don't want to even pursue this at all, we're cool. We're just going to keep going about what we're doing. We're going to still be brothers. But what do you want to do? If you want to, we're going to all get behind you. And that's how it really began. But even then, it was difficult because you're looking around and you're just trying to see examples where you are of what you're trying to do. And there weren't that many examples here because, you know, the hip hop scene had been so, it just was being trampled on. It was being suppressed. There weren't a lot of outlets for us to be able to perform and express ourselves. So needless to say, the infrastructure really wasn't there or equipped to, you know, incubate the type of talent and skill to launch anybody. So much of the effort went into, you know, finding the like-minded folks, finding your friends and your peers and contemporaries, and then you have to focus on building your name and your respect while also trying to build a scene from an artist standpoint, which artists shouldn't necessarily have to do, but a lot of us we had to take that on because otherwise there was no scene for us. But we knew the talent was here. So, man, it's been quite the journey from being 20 to now being, you know, 31 and putting out these types of albums and seeing the reception and seeing other artists being able to put out their music and having places where they can express themselves and engage with fans. So I feel like in that way it's gratifying to see the scene progressing and elevating.
And as far as being one of the groundbreakers, because Charleston, we have talent, but just like you were saying, we don't have the venues and the space or even the media coverage to really cover amazing artists, which is kind of why I started, because I felt like there's certain publications would cover certain people. Right. So actually being a groundbreaker, I would say one of the Charleston forefathers putting everything out there and getting seen, to see what it is now. What do you think can happen next for Charleston? Do you think it's a growth happening?
I definitely do think it's a growth happening. I think it's a growth happening across like a lot of different genres of music, and especially across like a lot of different genres of hip hop music. There's, you know, you got trap, you got soulful. It's just a whole spectrum of even the type of hip hop music. But what I'm seeing more of, because like you said, we have the talent here. What I'm seeing more of is people putting together teams. People identifying who their contemporaries are, who's good at what, and this is a crucial part of where we still have to go in the scene. I know personally, having a team of people, having a creative director, having a musical director, having someone who definitely pays all attention to, you know, what are you doing on your social media, what is your reach, because that is a vehicle for you to get your music to people and engage with fans and connect with your supporters. So that infrastructure that surrounds the artist or whoever that face is, that singer, that songwriter, that musician, I think I'm seeing more of a focus on those people and the skills and value that they bring to the table. That's going to be, I think it's going to be paramount to this scene doing anything, because like you said, there's limited media coverage here, but I'm seeing people create their own media outlets, like what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? There isn't a ceiling as much on the sounds and the stories that we're able to tell. So focusing on those people that surround the artists. Again, I and many artists like me, we get glamorized because they see us with the microphone, we're performing, we're in the visual, but the team that surrounds that has to be like so locked in order to reach that success and then transcend and go beyond that.
And when you speak of your team, if you're watching this and you went to the live show, we know that Benny has an impeccable team, from the stage crew, from the visuals, even the ushers. Like, everything was just amazing. So when you realized, well, when did you realize that a Water album? What was the vision behind it? When did you realize you want to be a live taping? All of this. I just want to like jump into your brain.
Yeah, no, maybe in 2018, maybe around February, I realized I was like, I like going in the studio and I like the studio, but I wanted to do something more. And so I love old school music. I love, Aretha's, Ray Charles, like the giants in the genre, and then jazz. And I started diving into a lot of reading. a lot of Bell Hooks and Angela Davis. And I remember reading Blues People by Leroy Jones, who became Amir Baraka. And it talked so much about, it was a theoretical work that really highlighted us being brought over here from West Africa to our existence in America. And so much of it was done through music, through the lens of music, gospel, spirituals, blues, the work song, and then jazz. And I wanted to do something because I had moved back to the Low Country. And I feel like I had a story that I had to tell about just where I was as a young man. And you were in your late 20s. Life is starting to really hit you in a way where it's real.
I wanna live better, eat better. I wanna love better, sleep better. Yeah, I wanna feel so aligned. Sublime. Y'all give a round of applause to this band right now. When they tell me they want to feel the chords a little more, then we got to do that shit again. That wasn't in the rehearsal. We didn't do that. That was not a part of the set list. Roderick was just in my ear like, yo, let's do it again. So we're going to do it again. So we did it again. This next record, we're going to get into it since we having a message to my black boys. Tell me how y'all really feel. I know y'all going through it. We going through it. Black women, tell me how you really feel. I know y'all going through it. Y'all been going through it. So we're going to keep that going. We're going to talk to y'all directly because I love y'all. I love y'all deeply. And I love y'all forever, and I'm unapologetic about that love. People be like, yo, well, you know, I'll be like, yo, we're gonna do this right now for the black women. Be like, we're gonna do it for all women. I'm like, no, that ain't what I said.
So you had a lot of local help as far as putting a water album together, from features to bands. So why did you want to keep it all local, or so why?
I think it was important. I'm an independent artist, and even when we talk about the issues of housing, those issues affect me. Transportation, it affects me. Wages, our ability to start businesses, to have access to the capital that we need to have in order to start successful businesses and stuff. All those things affect artists as well, and I can't divorce myself from that type of content in the same way that I'm here, I'm an independent artist. Supporting local isn't just a cool phrase, and I'm realizing literally how much talent and skill we have right here. So to be able to play with incredible musicians whose, I'm talking about, their instruments have taken them far beyond here, but they're rooted here. The 420s, Roderick, Bonnie, DJ. I mean, just incredible musicians. To be able to work with them knowing that they're rooted here. To be able to work with photographers who are here, to be able to work with all the feature artists who came, Nisi Blues and Matt Monday, just Shaniqua McCants, all of them here. That was really important to me. If I had to have the record mastered here, mixed here, I wanted to create something that was as much of a Charleston album from me as an MC who is here and living here, and the stories are about here relative to our issues here. I wanted that whole thing to totally be birthed here. That was really important to me, and it's just a fragment of the talent that we have here. People who are creating new things, original things across so many creative mediums. So it's a Charleston album. When I say it's a Charleston album, that is on every level.
And on Next Up Charleston, being that we always talk about Charleston, but the fact that you saw the scene when I don't want to say when it was nothing, but when it was very small to where it is now, I always have to go to my question. Yeah. What do you think, if anything, is stopping Charleston from having that breakout artist, or do you think it's here, it's bubbling?
I think our issues as artists are inextricably tied to the issues that people face in Charleston. So going back to those issues of how is blackness valued in Charleston? We know this is a genre of music that we take ownership of. You know, we take ownership of these expressions. So when I see the obstacles that black people are up against, when I read things like the racial disparities report in the Avery, when we look at all of how everything is divided basically by race with who has and who does not have, I think that's inextricably tied to the plight of artists to actually transcend out of here. We have young people who are creating new outlets. That's very needed, because oftentimes we don't have the type of news media outlets that respect what we do, that respect the importance and the significance of what we do, but they use our art and our magic to sell everything to everybody all the time. So being that we're tied to those issues, seeing young people, we're looking now, we're innovating, we're challenging the system. The only way that it's going to happen, I think, collectively, is that mutual respect. There's a lot of the OGs who've been doing it for a long time that I communicate with, and it's like, man, you know, I'm proud of you. I see you. I see what you're doing. It's respect, it's love, keep going. How can we help support one another? But also this collective infrastructure, it's being created. We're literally doing the footwork because of how pushed down we've been and how tied to those issues and obstacles we still are. But I believe it's happening because I see people like you, what you're doing. I see people innovating, creating new things. We're realizing we're gonna usurp whatever this media is. We're gonna go straight to the people. we're raising people's sense of value in what we have to say, because we the leaders in the room now. So I think we're getting there. I think people just gotta sometimes realize, like, it is sometimes a slow process and it's hard. It's not easy. But I believe that we have the talent and we have the ingenuity, we have all that stuff right with what we got going on. And I'm seeing people rising. I'm seeing people breaking down, kicking down doors. So I believe it's on the brink right now. We just gotta start speaking it. And I'm guilty of it too. I need to speak it more than just waiting for it to ride. Yeah.
And for someone who might be, I don't know, in South Dakota, and they're watching, and they want to know, who is Benny Starr as an artist? Who is Benny Starr?
Benny Starr is a black man who has had a hell of a life so far. Lots of experiences, lots of highs, lots of lows. I've been blessed with a gift to reach people, a gift to write music. And I'm never going to divorce that from my love for black people, and how we're valued, how much I value us, how much we value each other, and how we continuously try to just be all right. Sometimes we jump to like being successful and being like, we want to do all these things, but being all right first, making sure we're good as we, chase those dreams. But it's poetic, it's lyrical, it's very musical. All my influences are evident throughout my music, whether it's gospel, jazz, soul, and I'm growing, so I would want them to grow with me.
I got pain in my bones, blood stains on my clothes, 4 gold chains on, and I don't work for you. I got pollution in my food, revolution in my blues, executions on that news. I got work to do. I got a bag full of soul and I own that. I got a swag in my stroll, I pay home back. This ain't Moses in the desert, just a chosen under pressure. This lends to my oppressor, I don't work for you.
It was Free Lunch 4 years ago. Now it's a Water album. Who knows what the next one's going to be, but I know it's going to be a reflection of the man I'm trying to continuously grow into being.
So are you purposely doing a 4-year gap in between each album, or is it just how?
I actually think that 4-year gap came because I knew I was going through a lot of changes and I didn't have what I wanted to say yet, so I was giving myself time to. But now there's like a lot of music that's pouring out, and I don't anticipate it being another 4-year gap. No.
That's awesome. You were talking about all your influence. Quick, I'm putting you on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Give me your top 5 favorite artists.
Oh my.
Ooh,
okay.
Yeah.
Top 5 favorite artists in no order.
No particular order, so no one gets upset.
Oh man, Sam Cooke got to be in there. Aretha Franklin got to be in there. Marvin Gaye has to be in there. Donny Hathaway has to be in there. David Ruffin has to be.
Ooh, I felt the soul.
Yeah, right.
The soul just creeped up.
Right.
But,
It all before me. It feels like the stars are.
Feels like I've seen it before, smelt it before, breathed it before, felt it before. Feels like nostalgia.
Said it feels like nostalgia, yeah.
Feels like I've seen it before, smelt it before, breathed it before, felt it before. This all feels like nostalgia.
Charleston, again, there's an energy and a blackness and expression that's being drawn here, and I think you're as much of that, you're as much as a cause of that as any of us creatives are, because we're voicing who we are, and we're confident in that and proud in that. So this is a Water album week. Man, 6/19 we're releasing it. We're doing hand deliveries for a lot of the vinyls, shipping vinyls out to all those who pre-ordered. It's overwhelming for me because I'm just happy that this moment is here now, and we'll be making some announcements about Juneteenth and how we're going to just
be extra black.
Be extra black that day. It's going to be extra black.
Listen, I'm ready to be extra black. You know, that is what I do in my free time. Just be extra black.
Right.
But is there anything else you want to tell the world? Where can they find you, your merch? Because let us see the merch. If you don't have your shirt, make sure you get it. Okay, listen. Shea Butter Honeys, I'm working on something for y'all. I'm trying. Me and Mika, we trying to get something for y'all. Because if Benny don't want to talk about it, but he got all these Shea Butter Honeys, but we ain't gonna talk about that anyway. Where can the new Shea Butter Honeys follow you? Where can they find you?
On Twitter and Instagram at Benny_Starr with 2 R's.
Don't forget those 2 R's, please.
Please don't forget the 2 R's, y'all. On Facebook, Benny Starr Music, facebook.com/ Benny Starr Music. And hit me up on my website, join the mailing list to stay in the know and get the newsletter. It's BennyStarrSC.com. And you can also purchase vinyl, you can purchase merch and everything from that site as well.
Perfect. Anything else?
Thank y'all. Thank y'all, beautiful, beautiful black people, all my supporters, everybody for continuously rocking with me, allowing me to grow, growing with me, showing up countless times and times again. I'm a local artist. We put 1,000 people in the music hall to record music nobody ever heard before. So just to see everybody show up like that, continue to show up for me. I want to thank my team as well. Everybody, shout out to Mika Gaston, shout out to Elliot and McKenzie, Troy, Serge, Roderick, shout out to Drew, the visuals, everybody in Wolfgang, and opening up Rialto Row so often to so many musicians around here. And shout out to you for being Chrissy. You so dope, and you know I rock with you. We're gonna continue tearing the shit up.
Period.
Period.
And that's on period. And that's a wrap.
Yeah, can you picture me naked, sacred and sublime at the resurrection? Yeah, I've died several times, but still I rise at the resurrection. Yeah, a little bread, a little wine, and it's I am the joy of an innocent boy. I am the blessed overtones of those double X chromosomes. I'm a critical study, exceptional math. I'm theory, praxis, the intellectual class. I am doubtful, I am hopeful, I am vocal, and I'm complex. Holy city, black, local, a global context. I'm the history and the prophecy. I'm benevolent. I'm heirs property swallowed up by development.